Alright, I am starting this pastel demo for you guys. First of all, I have my image and I have my drawing. I chose to sketch this drawing through projection, which is always an option for you guys. Keep in mind that it oftentimes distorts it somewhat. Some people that drives crazy, some people that's just fine. So we've talked about pastel before. We always work light to dark. We want to block out all of these areas before we get into specifics. Oil pastel is all about layers. So my first goal will be to any kind of white areas I believe should be white, or this light skin tone, or even this light tan. I'm going to put down a full block of that basic light color first before I try to build any of these shadows on top of it. I'll be back when I have all this blocked out. Before I forget to mention this, whatever I put down first, whatever light color I put down first is going to stain this gray paper, or whatever paper you're using. So it's really important to think about what's going to be the safest thing to put down first. If I put black or something really dark down first, this paper will always be at least some version of black, even if I scrape it all the way down to the paper. That first thing that you put down, it will stain it. It will never be anything other than that. So if you're ever in doubt, go with your lightest color that you can sort of figure out here. And if you're totally unsure, usually it's pretty safe to put down white or something close to white first. That way when you scrape it down, it will get back down to that color. Another point that's worth noting, all these places where I put these shading shapes, I'm going to want to lighten those because pastels are semi-transparent, and it's very likely in a light area, like in this skin tone, I'm going to be able to see these shading shapes through the pastel. So before I begin, I'm going to lighten all of that. Okay, so I've done a bunch of the basic blocking out. One of my students told me how to time lapse. That's a cool feature. And now I'm going to try to go, rather than block everything out, which is what I would ask you to do, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to do these highlights and lowlights on this blocked out basic color. Okay, so I used a bunch of white to get those highlights in there. I'm going to go back in and add rust in the skin tone to get some of these shadows. I'm also going to use brown in here to enrich those areas and get a little extra hue. At some point I'm going to start adding black, but I'm not going to rush into that. If I go too far, I can always go back in with my original tan, and then I can lighten that up. Right now I'm just trying to make the basic shapes of highlights and lowlights. One goal I have for this video is to show you how easy it is to fix mistakes with Pastel. I am being almost careless in my application of color, and through this I've had to and I will have to fix multiple decisions that I've made. For instance, earlier on I laid down a ton of black on these fingers, big thick lines. They were way too much, so I had to take my X-Acto knife and I had to scrape off some of that black and get back to the original peach stained paper. That's always an option as long as you've gone with a lighter color on the bottom. You can almost always get back to it. Also, I just laid down a ton of red to get to more of a pink and red hue, but I was fairly careless when I was laying it down, and now I'm going to have to get rid of some of that and take some lighter colors and blend back over it, and I'll show you how you can get rid of if you've laid down too much color.